Good morning, ma'am. I am Justine Claret, Pescadero. I'm from Group 16. The topic that we will discuss is about formalities of entry in and exit from the Philippines. So the topic that I am going to discuss is about detention of foreign travelers. Section 25, for the purpose of determining whether alien arriving in the Philippines belong to any of the classes excluded by the immigration law, the examining immigration officer may order such alien detained on board the vessel bringing them or in such other place as the officer may designate as such detention to be for a sufficient length of time to enable the officer to determine whether they belong to an excluded class and their removal to such other place to be at the expense of the vessel bringing them. So, discussion of the law about ani sa Section 25 under Section 6 of the law. Under Section 6 of the Philippine Immigration Act of 1940, also known as Commonwealth Act Number 613, is a law establishing the Bureau of Immigration of the Philippines and establishing the visa policy of the Philippines. Immigration officer may detain aliens on board the vessel conveying them into the Philippines. Detention shall be for sufficient period of time to enable officer to determine whether belongs to any of the excludable classes in Section 29 of the Philippine Immigration of 1940 refers to the excludable classes of aliens. It provides a list of categories of individuals who may be denied entry into the Philippines. In the specific language of Section 29 may have been uploaded or amended since then. So it's important to consult the most recent version of the law occurrent information. So B, the aliens concerned may apply waivers of their exclusion for the Commissioner of Immigration. So, about to said Anna is, under the Philippine Immigration Act 1940, there may be provision that allows that who aliens under the excludable classes mentioned in Section 29 to apply for and potentially qualify the waivers of exclusion. The Act grant the Commission of Immigration the authority to exercise discretion in granting waivers to certain individuals who may otherwise. So, application of the law. Case on December 30, 2000, a series of bombs went off in Metro Manila, later labeled as the Rizal Day bombings. A total of 22 people died, including a very young boy named Emmanuel. In regards, the Immigration Authority issued a red alert instruction for the temporary detention of foreigners arriving in the Philippines. To enable to immigration officer to determine whether these foreigners belong to the excludable classes covered under Section 29 of the Philippine Immigration Act. All of the foreigners, including Alcaz, a soft-spoken, were temporarily detained by immigration authorities pending his entry in the Philippines. Upon inspection of his bag, Alcaz had in his possession bomb components. Can Alcaz be by reason of the bomb component found in his bags be declared unfit for entry or admission in the Philippines. So, ako ang i-discuss ang the Philippine Immigration Act. I-discuss na ako ang Philippine Immigration Act of 1940. So, mauni siya. Philippine Immigration Act of 1940 was enacted during the Commonwealth era of the Philippines, which was transitional period between the country status as U.S. territory and its eventual independence. That act was signed into the law on December 5, 1940. So, ang sign ani is si President Manuel L. Quezon. So, ang tubag about sa yes, by virtue of the Philippine Immigration Act of 1940, all cause may be classified as excludable alien who may people risk to the general welfare or will treat security and public safety, including the Philippines laws and regulation, govern the entry and stay of non-citizens with their borders. These laws aim to protect national interests, public safety, and security. Consequently, certain individuals excludable alien if they are deemed to pose risk to the general welfare, national security, and classification of individual as excludable alien is typically based on specific ground specified in the applicable immigration laws. The grounds may include but are not limited to factors such as criminal history, national security concern, health and public. Section 29A. Any alien about to depart from the Philippines temporarily or for permanent residence abroad shall, before leaving, apply to the Commissioner of Immigration for clearance certificate. If the Commissioner finds that the applicant has no obligation with the government, its instrumentalities, agencies, and subdivision, and that there is no pending criminal, civil, or administrative action which by law requires his the certificate upon surrender of all other certificate previously issued to him by the Bureau of Immigration. Discussion of the law. No foreigner shall depart from the Philippines except at a port of departure and unless there has been issued a valid immigration clearance certificate or a certificate of exception. Failure to comply is penalized by the Immigration Act. So, ang about ani sa discussion of the law, ang mga foreigners kay mo depart sila sa Philippines. Ang mga foreigners kay ma-depart sila sa Philippines except at a port of departure unless nga naa sila valid immigration nga clearance certificate or certificate of exception nga pwede nila makomply sa the immigration clearance certificate allows immigration authorities to monitor all the departure of aliens from the Philippines and is one major source for the efficient administration and enforcement of immigration rules and regulation. So, ang about sa dana is the immigration clearance certificate. It allows immigration authorities nga i-monitor ang tanan nga na-depart nga mga foreigners from the Philippines ug one major source sa administration and enforcement of immigration kay ang laws, ang rules ug ang regulation. Following are expelled from securing immigration clearance certificate. First, aliens deported from the Philippines or aliens on departure proceeding who are given permission to depart of their own expense in lieu of departure to a specified destination and are deporting to such as destination. 2. Alien minor under 14 years of age and 3. Alien transects or temporarily visitors staying in the Philippines for less than 15 days. No immigration clearance. Clearance certificate or certificate of exception shall be issued to an alien who has a pending obligation with the Philippine government, its instrumentalities agencies, and whose presence in the Philippines is required by law in any pending criminal, civil, or administrative action. So, kung wala sila immigration clearance, clearance certificate, or certificate of exception issue sa dayuhan nga naay pending obligation sa Philippines government. Alien withhold departure order cannot be issued immigration clearance certificate under lifted by component authorities. Any departure control officer shall prevent the departure of alien even if such aliens has immigration clearance certificate of exception. If departure control officer receive reliable information that said alien issuance of immigration clearance certificate or certificate of exception has become disqualified to hold the same under Section 4 or that has the same was obtained through fraud or mispresentation. So, hold departure guidelines or letter of instruction number 5 as amended by DUS or circular number 17 in March 19, 1998. So, A. Pursuant to a court order in a criminal habeas corpus. So, ang definition niyan is pursuant to a court or refers to an action or decision taken in accordance with or as a result of an order. Ruling or direct issued by a control of law. In the context of criminal law or habeas corpus means that a particular action or legal process in being carried out in compliance with the instruction or authority of a court. So, ang explanation or ang explanation sa niya to is pursuant to a court order refers to an action or required imposed as a result of an official directive issued by a court. This term is commonly used in the context of criminal law and habeas corpus proceeding. Regarding habeas corpus, it is a legal recourse through which individual can challenge their unlawful detention or imprisonment. Pursuant to a court order in the habeas corpus context means that the court has issued an order for the release of an individual who has been wrongfully detained. In both criminal cases and habeas corpus proceeding complying with a court order in mandatory. Failure to adhere to the terms of a court order may result in legal consequence including competent of court changes or sanction against the non-be pursuant to a standing warrant or order of arrest. So definition niya is means that a specific action is being carried out in accordance with an existing invalid warrant or order issued by a court for the arrest of an individual. This phrase indicates that the action being taken, such as the apprehension or detention of a person, is being done in compliance with the authority granted by the warrant order. In action is undertaken pursuant to a standing warrant or order of arrest, it means that the action is being carried out in compliance with the authority granted by the existing warrant of court order. Law enforcement agencies are executing the arrest of detention based on the prior authorization provided by the warrant order, ensuring that due process is followed. So C, when the aggrieved or adverse party is government of its agencies. So ang definition niya is the term aggrieved or adverse party refers to the government of its agency that has been directly affected or harmed by a particular action, decision, or event. In legal and administrative contexts, this term is used to identify the party that has suffered a negative consequence, injury, or disadvantage as a result of the action or omission of another party. So the explanation about ANA is when we refer to the aggrieved or adverse party as the government as one of its agencies, it means that the government or one of its official entities is the party that has suffered harm, injury, or loss in a legal or administrative matter. The involvement of the government as assigned or adverse party can vary greatly depending on the specific context, jurisdiction, and circumstances of the case or situation of hand. E. Subject to the provision of existing laws where the national interest, national security, public safety, or public is involved. And so the definition about ANA is the phrase subject to the provision of existing laws where the national interest, national security, public safety, or public health is involved. About is the provision of existing laws related to national interest, national security, public safety, or public health typically involves measures that prioritize the well-being and protection of a country and its citizens. These provisions are enacted to ensure that stability, security, and welfare of the nation as a whole, often overriding certain individual rights or freedom in specific circumstances. Significantly implies that any actions, decisions, or measure taken must comply with the laws and regulation in place. Additionally, by consideration related to the national interest, national security, public safety, or public health. This phrase is often used to indicate that certain circumstances may require exception or this phrase is often used to indicate that certain circumstances may require exception or special provision, but those exceptions should still adhere to the established legal framework. It recognized that in specific situations where important national concern may need to exercise additional power or taken measure that might not be typically allowed under normal circumstances. For example, it could imply that the government can enact a certain policy or regulation that restrict individual rights or liberties if it is deemed necessary to protect national security or public safety. However, the action must be within the boundaries set by existing laws and must justified by the particular context of national interest, national security, public safety, or public health. When a criminal or deportation case is pending against the alien. So the definition about ANA is when a criminal or deportation case is pending against aliens, it means these individuals are currently undergoing legal proceeding related to the allied criminal activity or potential removal from the country based on immigration violation. Specific circumstances, evidence, and legal arguments presented during the proceeding. So the explanation, ANA is both criminal and deportation cases. The aliens has the right to legal representation and process. They may be able to present evidence, call witness, cross-examine witness, and make arguments in their defense. The outcome of the cases can vary and may result in the penalties, imprisonment, removal from the country, or in some cases, acquittal or cancellation of limural. The specific procedures and legal standard involved in these cases can vary depending on the country's laws, immigration policies, and the nature of allegations or changes against. So, policy guidelines for all departing passenger. Office Memorandum Order number 33 to 93 March 18, 1993. Number 1, Philippine passport holder shall, in addition to their passport, present the following documents. A. For contract workers, they must present in Overseas Employment Certificate or OEC from the Philippines Overseas Employment Agency or POEA. B. For tourists, the immigration officer must ensure that the passenger has round valid and genuine passport. C. For government employees, they shall present a approved authority to travel. So number 2 is foreign passport holders. So the definition about ANA is refers to individual who hold a passport issued by a country other than the one which they reside or have citizenship. A passport is an official travel document issued by a national government that certifies the identity and citizenship of the holder and facilitates international travel. Foreign passport holders are typically citizens or residents of one country but possess a passport issued by another country, allowing them to travel internationally and seek entry into foreign countries. The specific privileges and restrictions for foreign passport holders may vary depending on the laws and regulation of each country. So A. Tourists who stayed for more than 6 months present a regular immigration clearance certificate issued by the Bureau of Immigration. B. Permanent temporary resident. They shall all present immigration clearance certificate and re-entry permit or RP for permanent resident or SRC for temporary resident. Republic Act number 9225 or Dual Citizenship Law. Republic Act number 9225, Dual Citizenship Law. Under this law, natural-born citizens of the Philippines became citizens of another country shall be deemed not to have lost their Philippine citizenship. Consequently, they must file a petition under oath the Commissioner of Immigration for the issuance of identification certificate. For natural-born citizens living abroad may file the petition to the nearest Philippine Foreign Post. A copy of the birth certificate authenticated by the National Statistics Office is required to be submitted as a proof of being a natural-born citizens of the Philippines. Republic Act Number 9225 or Dual Citizenship Law. Republic Act Number 9225, also known as Dual Citizenship Law, is a law in the Philippines that allows natural-born Filipinos who have been acquired citizenship of another. Republic Act Number 9225, also known as the Dual Citizenship Law, is a law in the Philippines that allows natural-born Filipinos who have been acquired citizenship of another country to retain or require their Philippine citizenship. The law enacted on August 29, 2003. And its primary purpose is to recognize the right of dual citizenship and to facilitate the reintegration of Filipinos who have become citizenship of another countries into the Philippine society. Under the provision of Republic Act 19225, a natural-born Filipino who has become a citizen of another country may apply for the reacquisition or retentions of the Philippine citizenship. This allows them to enjoy the right and privileges of being a Filipino citizens, including the right to own land, engage in business activities, and participate in the political process. To avail of dual citizenship, the individual must meet certain requirements and go through the necessary application process. Republic Act 9225 aims to recognize and protect the rights of Filipinos who have been acquired citizenship of another country, while also providing them with opportunity to maintain their ties to the Philippines and contribute to the country. And that's all the topic about formalities of entry in and exit from the Philippines. Thank you.